Hi, this is Marina from Darkstar Astrology, bringing you the interview that I had with Robert Phoenix. And the unfortunately, the beginning, maybe the first 5 minutes, didn't have any audio, and then there were some audio problems for another few minutes, and then Robert sorted out the sound problem. I mean, it's not ideal, actually. There was some technical problems with it, but hopefully the next time we do the interview, those will be ironed out. And then it was broadcasted live so that he could answer questions on some of the charts that I was reading for some of his members of his group. So that was at the end. But first we discussed as promised, the Capricorn stellium, and then we talked a little bit about, God, I can't remember now, various topics. I mean, it was all basically about astrology, and we did talk a little bit about the deep state as well. I wasn't very happy with my readings of their charts, but he said it was okay, but don't take that as how I normally do readings, because doing very quick ones like that, I like to really mull over my chart readings that I do for people, and I like to be in the zone as well, and to do them live and then having to jump from one to the other, it's like I can't get into their energy, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. But otherwise, it was quite interesting to do. It was blind reading because I had no idea who they were, and no background. And normally when I do readings, I always ask a few questions, so there's something to grab onto. So I was a little bit like, I don't know what to say about that. And also not knowing what they look like, whether they're male or female, because I always ask for a photo when I do my readings. So that's also quite weird, just having a blank to read. So that's why I think I was a little bit lost. But anyway, I really enjoyed the interview. We had a really good laugh, and we're really on the same page. So yeah, enjoy.
And it's an uncommon aspect. I don't do a lot of readings for Venus-Mars conjunction people. I have kind of a type sort of in my head a little bit. What is your take on that in an individual chart?
The few I've done, they've all been polyamorous, actually. Like, that's what I thought. It just seems to be, or they either are very, polyamorous and have many lovers, or not at all. There was another guy who was completely celibate. So it's either all or nothing, isn't it, really, with Venus, Mars?
Yeah.
Or maybe one. And I suppose it depends on the sign that it's in. Like, if Venus is the one that's, if it's in Libra, then Venus is going to override Mars, and then if it's in Aries, then it's going to be Mars. So maybe that's the more polyamorous one.
Could be. I mean, I think with Epstein, it was Venus, Mars, and Pisces.
Oh God, and Venus exalted.
Yeah.
So yes, putting women on a pedestal and all that kind of stuff.
I think Epstein was a bit of a Svengali, and that Venus-Mars conjunction, I think, could help him really charm and kind of seduce and hypnotize the girls that he was with.
But also that Giselle Maxwell, maybe he hypnotized her to get the girls in, because she seemed to be the one who lured them in.
Who was handling who in that relationship? I mean, I think that's a really interesting question. Maxwell is heavy-duty Capricorn. Right?
Yeah. I haven't looked at her chart, actually. I really should.
And Epstein, 0 degrees Aquarius. So he's an Aquarian,
Yeah, well, his son's on my sun.
Oh, really?
And his Mercury's on my Mercury.
So you should theoretically get him on some level, right?
Oh, that's the thing. Well, yes. Well, that's the thing. Maybe, actually, I've got another friend of mine who's an astrologer. She's also got her sun at 0 Aquarius. And we both kind of, I think that we are liable to fall for Svengali type people. So it's kind of us who are all starry-eyed and, it's so wonderful. And be manipulated by them, maybe. I don't know. Right. I mean, like you said, who's doing the manipulation?
I think you might be right about maybe not. Well, poly. I mean, obviously, at kind of a, how do I say, distorted level, he was having polyamorous relationships with, the girls that he was using, mind controlling, right? I mean, there's your poly right there.
Yeah. And also, yes, the mythology behind the star that's at 0 Aquarius that we've all got our suns on is Jupiter. It's Altair. It's Jupiter's eagle, and he swoops down and he swoops. He was Jupiter's. He used to spot water bearers for the gods' feast, so he was procuring young boys or young girls in this case to be the water bearers. The waitresses, the sexy young, water bearers, wine bearers.
Right, wine bearers. Yeah.
Yeah. So that so fits. Yeah. So when I saw that, I went, oh my God, they're swooping down and picking young
maidens. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I also think perhaps he was probably bisexual too.
Oh yes, that's another. There's a few being bisexual as well. That too. Yeah.
I think he and Les Wexner were a thing.
Oh.
The guy that runs Victoria's Secret.
Oh right. Oh yeah, I don't really know much about him. Yeah.
I'll fill you in on the nerdy details.
Oh dear.
I wish we could do a chart for my cat. I don't know his birthday.
Yeah. Oh.
Unless somebody's in the other room.
Do selfies.
If somebody's in the other room keeping him company, he's fine. So Venus, Mars. I've also seen Venus, Mars people being very charming. It's a very charming, kind. And I think they can literally get kind of whatever they want on some level. And they're also, I think, in Pisces, it feels to me like, since Pisces is so fluid and has such a kind of a moral mutability, that there could be any kinds of justifications or whatever needs to happen for that reality to unfold to that individual, right?
Yeah.
They can make any kind of justification. Well, I'm doing this because of this or this or this or this. It's just all very fluid, right?
Yeah, Venus is a bit like that anyway, though, as well. Just as a planet, it can be sort of.
I think so.
Not the most trustworthy. I mean, when you look at the meanings for fixed stars, overly Venus stars have a really bad reputation. And I used to think, it's because it's so sexist against women. But no, it's just because Aphrodite's she's a bit of a, I don't know, she's not too fossil morals, really.
Yeah, if let's put it this way. If Aphrodite was single and you were a married couple, you wouldn't invite her over for dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So in terms of the fixed stars, with Libra, isn't it Spica? Is Spica going to play a part in that role in that? You want to talk about Spica a little bit?
Spica in what's?
Well, I normally, when I read Spica, it's in tropical Libra.
Oh, yeah. It's at 23, 24 Libra. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it depends on what context, because it's on its own, it's a brilliant start, and it's supposed to be very fruitful because it's in the, in the constellation of Virgo, she's holding a sprig of wheat.
Yeah.
Spica's on that sprig of wheat. So it can be, it's brilliant, it's talent, it's creativity, but not always. But it's sometimes fertility, but it's usually creativity that isn't to do with making babies, although it can be.
Right.
So it's a creative.
It's more mental. It's kind of more of the mental creation, right? Mental creativity on some level.
Yeah.
Which I've always found with Libra, by the way. Libra is much more kind of mentally creative versus. I know it's kind of a a broad sort of generalization, but Taurus seems to be more kind of physically creative.
Oh yeah.
Physically general.
Much more sensual, whereas Venus is more, Libra is more idealistic. And
in the mind, there's a lot of mind stuff that goes on there. I wanted to ask you about, and I've found this to be true, and I'll give you my take on it. But I'm interested in your perception on Aries women and Libra men. and what that's like for both.
God. Well, when they're in a coupled up, there is,
or just in general, like they're like a woman who's ruling planet is Mars, right, and Aries. What it's like for a woman to have that as her lifetime assignment versus a man, theoretically, who has Venus sort of, guiding his path in this lifetime, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends. Do you mean in synastry if they're together? Because
no. I mean, I know there's a lot more that goes on.
Yeah.
Of course,
So
but I just found, I'll just throw it out. Me personally, I have seen Aries women who have come to me as clients have kind of intense lives.
Oh, God. Well, my mum's a double Aries. Yeah.
And
totally
they're always pushing against things. And
yeah.
I don't think it's an easy assignment for me. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. See, it's with the way I do my astrology, I don't see the sun as being the main thing. I think of it as rising. So I'm thinking that Aries rising would have more that thing. But it depends though, because what you just said, my mum's double Aries, and she's had like really like up and down life, like really like super rich and then losing all your money and like everything dramatic. Everything is played out really speedily, I guess. So it's fast, it's Mars. Whereas, but Libra men would be, it's Libra men, actually I went out for, yeah, they're obviously the complete opposite.
Right.
And they are very feminine. Yeah, he was like my John Lennon boyfriend, he was Libra.
Right.
And totally long hair, he was really quite pretty. And I felt more Aries, but I think they make the people around them become more Aries, even if they're not. Because
that's interesting. That's an interesting perception. Yeah.
Yes, and actually, I think that happens with Libras in general, though, because my best friend, she's a Libra, and she's been out with loads of Aries men, and she goes, they're all so kind of like violent and really, she's really feminist and everything, and she sees them as really like overbearingly masculine. But I said, well, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe you're sort of bringing out your Aries and projecting it onto them, or your Mars onto them.
Right.
She's so sort of peaceful, but she's sometimes quite angry as well. And I've seen angry Libras, and then it flips over to the opposite. Like I see that a lot with Virgo. Virgo flip over to Pisces so much. Although it could be because I only know Virgo stelliums. It seems to really go over to Pisces.
Yeah, they start to occupy the other side of the sign. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I can see that in some ways. Yeah, I'm not much of a Virgo. I just have.
Oh right, yeah.
My sun at 29 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, you're at the end.
But I do have Pluto conjunct midheaven in Virgo, so I do get very Virgo.
God, I never think of you as Virgo. No. Yeah. What's your ascendant again?
Scorpio.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, definitely more Scorpio.
28 Scorpio. So let's talk a little bit about, maybe you touched on the synastry. What about an Aries woman with a Libra guy? How do you think that would fit?
Poor guy. Just walk all over him, wouldn't she? Oh my God. I mean, well, actually, I think my dad had a Libra moon. My mum was Aries, so and he was, yeah. But the thing is, what happens, I think, is that they're so emasculated, they go off and have affairs. Yeah.
That is a feminine insight, by the way. I think I wouldn't come up with that, but I think that comes out of kind of the sort of, a more sort of feminine sort of located consciousness. Like I wouldn't think of that, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, I think. All right, so let's flip it. What about Aries man, Libra woman?
That's kind of nice, I think, because they know where they are. Like she'll just love for him to be Mr. Alpha Male, and he'll love for her to be all like geisha girl. Be perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just the other way around, which would be no. Well, I don't know. It depends.
It depends on what your agreements are, right? Because they may be working something out, right?
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah.
Because sometimes the person who is sort of superficially seen as submissive isn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like in a weird way, they begin to create this locus of control. You know,
I don't
they call it power bottom or something like that. I don't know. I don't know about these things. You know, Linda Goodman, she said, you know, long time ago, that opposites in men and women actually work and are good. Opposites the same sex create rivalries. What's your take on that?
Ah, yeah, definitely. Yes, well, yeah, I've definitely seen that with friends. Definitely, there are some friends. Well, actually, you can be, if you're a male and a female friend as well. It has to be in a sort of, you know, romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. God, that really, especially with Leos. Well,
I was going to ask you, how do you get on with Leos?
Oh, love or hate, it really, really is. I've had lots of Leo, partners, but not, but about maybe one girlfriend, and that started off with us fighting online, and then we became best buddies. But it's all love or hate. She's got stellium in Leo, opposite mine. But I'm starting to like them more now. I used to not, but maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe because I'm just more mature, not so kind of young rivalry kind of thing, or you know.
Right.
Everything triggers you, doesn't it?
So it's true. It's true. So your 10th house, midheaven is Aquarius.
Yeah.
10th, 11th is...
Ninth house.
9th house. What's the ruler of your 11th house?
It's Aquarius, because I use whole signs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to have to deal with those Leos no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, so just getting back to Venus-Mars Virgo conjunction. I think it's good that we're doing this today with Venus-Mars. Conjunction.
Yeah, the sun's there as well. I'm just looking at the chart. The sun's at 1 degree as well. So it's all together.
There's a lot of mutable energy right now. We've got both Venus and Mars. We've got the sun. Yeah. We have Jupiter. Yeah. And is the moon still in Gemini, or is it moved into Cancer right now?
It looks like it's still in Gemini. I think I remember seeing in my moon diary that it was going to be in Gemini while we're doing this. So
right. And we have Neptune and Pisces. So we're constellating with this kind of beautiful Grand Cross energy.
Oh God, yeah! I just realised Neptune's opposite my ascendant at the moment. So my descendant.
Oh. Well, okay. Well, let's keep the conversation at a high level.
Well, no, it's made me very foggy-brained lately, and I don't know if it's the heat or not. But in the last few months, I just thought, that's why I've been taking all those supplements, because I keep forgetting things all the time, and I thought, God, am I getting some sort of Alzheimer's or something like that? Because my grandmother had it, and just things I just cannot. You know, when you try to remember a name of someone, and it's just like, bloody, who was that person?
I know. It happens usually when I'm doing my show. It's like,
oh yeah.
And I have to come up with some kind of clever way to not talk about it or redirect it. And, you know, yeah. It happens. It does happen.
Yeah. Sure. So it's not just Neptune on my descendant then. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. So we've got all this mutable energy today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably going to continue for the next couple of days as well, especially as Venus and Mars move closer into that upcoming square with Neptune, which is coming up here. That could be interesting and a bit tricky. I think Mars squares to Neptune are one of more things.
It'll be opposition.
Oh, sorry, opposition, my bad. Opposition.
Yeah.
So the oppositions are not.
It would be square Jupiter, it'd be a T-square.
Right.
Ooh, religious. My favourite thing.
Religious. Speaking of religious, have you seen like the protests in Hong Kong? Have you spent any time watching those things?
No, actually, I've not had time to have a look. I don't know what is going on. It's not religious, is it? Or is it?
Well, what's really interesting, and I talked about this on my show a couple of weeks ago, is that the majority of the people protesting are these Pluto and Sag kids.
Oh.
And they're singing religious songs, Christian religious songs.
Wow. Yeah. That's my daughter's generation. She's got Pluto and Sag.
So they're saying "We shall overcome," and they're totally hacking the whole thing. They've got they wear umbrellas, so the TV cams, don't see them, disabling cameras. So what's happening there is that Hong Kong, China, is pressing harder and harder and harder on the people of Hong Kong with more and more controls on speech and thought. And
Okay.
so they're starting to get very heavy.
Yeah.
And then if you push back against the system, the police are starting to pick people up and basically disappear them and extradite them to China. So this is one of the things that they're pushing against.
Yeah.
And I think the Pluto and Sag generation, this Gen Z generation, they're on the streets and they're combining this kind of wave of truth, social protest, and they're bringing in this kind of religious thing, which is really interesting.
Yeah, because I think like, you have to summon up some kind of spiritual entity to kind of help you. I mean, that's what the Crusaders did. So that's how it works. And if you feel like there's no justice in the world, if you feel completely disempowered, then the only thing you can think of, well, there must be a God, and therefore that's the only thing that gives you hope.
That's right.
So if they can, that wins, because I've been watching a lot of history things on YouTube, and every time it's like, how did these people overcome like an army that was twice the size? And it was because of either they were really passionate about losing their homelands, or it was it was a spiritual thing.
Right.
Or ancestors. It can work wonders, but it's because it's a group meme, I suppose, or summoning up a kind of spirit, I think. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Unlike Antifa, who pray at the spirit of Baal and methamphetamine, which is their god, right? But it's a very interesting development, especially from a generational perspective. And I was talking with somebody on Facebook today who lives in Hong Kong, and they were giving me the lowdown.
Wow.
It's very real, like it's happening.
So it's more police state, Saturn, Pluto stuff coming out there, and also France with the yellow vest is still going.
Yeah, we're seeing that in a pretty significant way with Saturn, Pluto, South Node coming in. People
yes, I was looking at today. Saturn's on the South Node.
Yeah, and people are figuring out that the global game, is shady.
Yeah.
They're figuring it out, and this Epstein thing is just the latest chapter. And people, this is the one thing that united the left and the right in a really weird way. It's like they both agreed on the fact that something was rotten in Denmark with Epstein.
Yeah.
They both agree on that, and it's really what's happening. Is I think that the script is starting to run out a bit here, and people are starting to wake up, and this is where things get a bit dodgy, as you would say, over there.
Yeah, because I think whoever they are, the controllers or whatever, I think they're really panicking now. I think they're freaking out because they know that once there's a build up, it does become like an avalanche. So they know they're like desperately trying to shut it down everywhere, especially like on YouTube as well. Because truth can't fail to rise to the surface. The more you push it down, it's going to come up and
pop up.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
So I just gotta. That's why I've been watching so many history channels, because I just think because it does make you feel fearful when you see people being banned off YouTube. You think, oh God, what if that happens to me? Not that I really talk about.
You haven't had any of your videos deplatformed or?
No, I've had a couple demonetized. But this guy who was banned, they're both English, by the way, and he had no idea. He said, I'd never had one strike or anything. It just happened bang out of the blue. So,
what was this channel about?
It's the usual thing, immigration, nationalism, and but he did it in such a funny way. It was really humorous and well edited, and I mean, I used to love it just to listen to it for the comedy, because you could just let off steam, and it feels a bit naughty because it's like taboo subject matter. So it's kind of cathartic to listen to.
That's what humor is supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think they hate that.
They hate it.
They cannot stand it.
It's like we're miserable, and we're going to make you miserable, and you can't make fun of us being miserable.
Yeah. So I think that's why he went, because I thought, bloody hell, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he's gone on to BitChute now.
A lot of people have.
I hope it takes off. I hope it does, because I've noticed now when I've been looking for things on YouTube, wanting to research certain areas of history, I get the same bloody channels. I was thinking, I don't want bloody history timeline. They're all ones that are...
I know, right? It's all the timeline stuff now.
Yeah,
that's all I get is timeline. I don't need the corporate version of history.
No, I much prefer just independent people just making their own videos just for the pure love of it, because they love history. Right. And you find them in the end, but you have to really dig. You can't, and it's great just people just doing their own videos, history videos, and they just do it themselves. They put some pictures in, and they do it. And that's what's wonderful about YouTube. You just get some bloke somewhere, I don't know, in Birmingham or something, making history videos because he likes it.
Right.
And they're more honest because it's not corporate.
Right.
Exactly. You also know that they have to do their research. They do their research because they'll get yelled at if they don't.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to know what you're talking about when it comes to
and they do. You can tell that they do.
Yeah. So that's so funny that you brought up that timeline stuff, because I just noticed all those timeline YouTubes just started showing up on YouTube.
Oh, how funny!
And it's like, why? And I watch a lot of history stuff too. I'm a history freak. I love, like one of the periods that really fascinates me is the Bolshevik Revolution, which it changed the world on so many levels, right?
Yeah, I've watched a lot on that.
Yeah, and it's
unbelievable. Unbelievable. We don't know this at school.
Yeah,
I was completely thrown by it. Well, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's because you got the victor's version, right?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk a little about Uranus in Taurus?
Oh, yeah.
Because when I think of Taurus, I think of terra firma, prima facie, nuts and bolts, food, earth, contact, this domain. I think of Earth as being Taurian.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to rule financial stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely that. It's so similar to, it's Bitcoin, isn't it? Really.
Well, Uranus and Taurus is definitely Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right, because you're using something technological.
Yeah.
I remember Bitcoin really took off, I think, around 2010, 2011. What was happening then, 2010, 2011? Saturn was in Libra. Right, in 2010, Saturn was in Libra.
Yeah.
And Jupiter, so 2010 would have been, 8 years ago. So let's go back 8 signs. So it would be the 4th sign, so it would have been, Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer?
What was, was that 8 years ago? Oh, right, so not 2012 yet. But I was just thinking, was it the Pluto-Uranus square?
I'm gonna just pop it up real quick here, so we know, appear to know what we're talking about. So let me.
But I think that there's more currencies now, aren't there? There's more.
Yeah, they're all tanking.
Versions.
They're all having a very difficult time, I've got. Go ahead.
They're trying not to have physical money anymore. I've noticed this is more and more like, oh no, you can do Apple Pay now. So what it's turning into is not having real physical money.
See, that's where I think Uranus and Taurus is going to go. It's going to move us off hard currency.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And I think the cell phone is going to be the intermediary device for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everything is becoming. The phone is becoming a purse now.
Yeah.
I mean, it already is. When I think about it, I go to the supermarket with my phone and just the credit card in there. I don't need, sometimes. So, there we go.
So, 2009, 2010, this makes perfect sense. And I remember this now because I had the Bitcoin chart. Jupiter's in Aquarius, okay?
Oh.
So that makes sense. And I knew when the South Node was going to go into Aquarius that Bitcoin was going to tumble. And I saw that, and I told people were asking me, what do you think about Bitcoin? I said, well, I think February is going to be a very, very rough month for Bitcoin. That was February of 2018. And people that listen to me, where we get some of their money out.
Oh, right.
And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, it was set up to be an Aquarian kind of currency, right?
Yeah.
Jupiter Aquarius. So now we're going to have Uranus in Taurus squaring Jupiter and Aquarius from the inception of Bitcoin. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But I saw a picture of somebody wrote an article on Uranus in Uranus and Taurus, yeah. And the picture was really frightening. It was like a cyborg holding a flower like that. And I just thought, oh my God. And then I was thinking of just genetically modified food, because they're just ways of feeding the world, because there's supposed to be so much starvation in the world, and just using technology so that we can feed more people. But why don't they just teach people to farm? Like, there's so much land. There's so much land. I mean, if the problem is in Africa, where there's more starvation, seems to be, there's so much land there. Just teach people to farm. Like, not just make a load of bloody grains, just to keep them in a sort of a living state. But that can't be good, nutrition anyway.
No, I preaching to the choir. I mean, there are cities here in the United States where, if you want to have a garden, like a real garden in your front yard, the city will shut you down. No, I'm talking about a vegetable garden, right? Not like they'll shut you down. They'll say, well, this doesn't meet community standards.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the game is all about dependence, right? It's all about dependence.
Yeah. Of course they will. Of course they won't teach people to farm then. Oh, whoa. No. Oh God, we are the farm. They're farming us.
No, absolutely. But I think the thing that you brought up about the cyborg with the flower, although it's frightening, it is an aspect of what we're going to be dealing with here. And I think that there's so much potential with Uranus. It doesn't have to just be one narrative.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I thought, please not genetically modified food and all that kind of stuff. What else could it be that's... Oh yeah, I've put some kind of notes here. I put traditional wives becoming revolutionary. Trad.
I think that's already happening.
Yeah, that is already happening.
Yeah, it's already happening, and I think you're spot on with that. And I was watching a video of Candace Owens from England, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there was this. I'll send you the link later. I'll put it in the YouTube page. There was this youngish English woman who apparently was so incensed while Candace Owens was talking, she yelled bullshit during her talk, right? So they let her come up and talk, and they completely disassembled her. And not because they were being cruel, but because they were sticking to the facts and the narratives. And the reason I brought it up was because Candace Owens has that, I don't know if she's a mom or not, but I know that she inspires mothers, women.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, there's this woman I follow on Twitter. What's her name? It's like, what is it? It's like Radical Mom or something like that.
Huh?
Radical Mom or something. I'll follow her. And this woman, she's a mother. She posts stuff that's even like way more out there than mine at times. And I'm like, well, good on you, And she's got a lot of...
I know who it is, but I can't remember what she's got. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Is she the,
Mom with a Mission is her name.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mom with a Mission.
And she's got followers. She's got followers.
Oh, I know. I like her. She's funny.
She is funny. So to your point, this is what you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Mom's on a mission.
Yeah, Mom's on a mission. And also, I was watching what's his name? Black Pills. He did a video about Stepford Wives, running, just analysing that movie and how that was so really got into people's brains.
That's a frightening movie, by the way.
Frightening, yeah, but that frightened me, and I just thought, oh my God, being a traditional wife, you're just a robot. You end up being a robot, and you know, and this is what patriarchy does in the end. This is what they all want. And it really made me like hate that sort of thing. Like when I ironed a shirt, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm so oppressed. But really, it's insidious. And he did a really good breakdown of it.
Right.
How it's really got into our psyche, and it has. And I think it's destroyed a lot of marriages. I really do.
Oh, yeah, that and Facebook
and
the cell phone have destroyed marriages.
Oh, right.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, he started talking to this woman that he used to go to school on Facebook, right? And then, right?
And then it just brings you back to when I was a teenager, you know, and then you feel like a teenager again because that's when you knew them. And
right.
Oh God, it's the apple. It's the apple forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
The iPhone.
So yes, it is the forbidden fruit. It is the apple. You know,
Yes.
we're getting maybe. I'll try to keep it on topic, but
yeah, I know. I knew this would happen.
But about a year and a half ago, I came across this story, and it was like a laundry list of teachers that have had affairs with their students, like high school students, right, or junior high students. So I was morbidly fascinated by this. And I'm like, well, why would they do this, and who did it? The majority of them were women, which I thought was interesting.
Oh.
And one of the key factors in these affairs with their students was the cell phone.
Wow.
They would share pictures, and the cell phone wound up being their demise too, because those same pictures they were sharing with their little lover got shared with, you know, the student body, right? Yeah. So the cell phone played, again, the forbidden fruit, right? It was this vessel, this carrier for the forbidden fruit.
I wonder if it gets possessed by. I mean, that's the thing. I think the internet pulls in demons.
Absolutely.
I think they go through all the wires. They go through all the wavelength or whatever it is.
There's a reason you're on this show. No, so. Do you know Tracy Twyman? You know Tracy?
Yeah, I knew of her. Yeah.
Okay, so very dark stuff, right?
Yeah.
He was really pulling back some very dark stuff. I think you could make a case about what you just said with the possession of the internet in relation to Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what was getting into her frontal lobe, right? There was something going on in a very dark way that I don't think a lot of people knew about. But I do think it was related to whatever kind of, you know, cyber kind of possession or cyber animation that I do think takes place.
Yeah, I think if you spend too much, I know if I spend too much time online that I get really heady here, and I know I have to ground, and I always have to make sure I go out for a walk and try and go barefooted and all that. Because otherwise, I'm sure you can it just dissolve, it just ungrounds you too much, and then you can get possessed by demons. I don't think that.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on, and I feel like that might have played a role in whatever happened to Tracy because of where she was going and the accessibility, right, to it all.
Because she was opening portals to get information, but you've got to be. I mean, yeah. You have to, I don't know, have a suit of armor of God knows what to get through all that, I think.
Yeah. I think you need Jasper.
Yes, I need to get a cat. Well, I will when I move. My daughter keeps wanting one, so I need my witch's cat. I haven't got one yet.
I tell you, they're great for ratings. No, I'm just kidding. He's more popular than I am sometimes, unless he like jumps on.
It's funny because he matches the background and everything. Because I was thinking, I want to get a blue cat. That was a nice little blue cat. Match mine.
Well, you know what? I think he probably channeled this, right? I think I got it on my own accord. I think Jasper was actually like, you know, back here somewhere. Get this. I want to talk a little bit about this idea around the kind of the radical mother that you brought up.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I think so. When Trump got elected, it was Uranus and Aries. And it was the radical male.
Yes.
Right now we've got Uranus and Taurus. And we're getting the radical females now that are being forwarded by the MSM as being, like whether it's AOC or Tlaib or Kamala Harris or even Marianne Williamson. Now this is the new program. It's the radical feminine, right?
Oh my God! Well, the radical, because this was another thing that happened this week as well. That I don't know if you know, but I used to be well into Lilith, and I'd written.
I know that. When I jumped on your side, it was like, holy smokes, this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Lilith. But I wrote a book, and I haven't finished it. And then I thought I'll just get back to that book, and I started reading it. I just thought, this is all bullshit. It's all freaking feminist bullshit. And it's
you mean what you were writing?
Yeah, what I was writing, and I can't bring it out now. I have to redo it because I see her in a totally different way now. Yeah.
So that's kind of okay. I just got to say that's kind of amazing. Because most people would just double down, right? They're like, oh shit, I wrote this book and it's really feminist. You know what? I'm committed now. I just got to keep going, right? A lot of people do that. That's how conformity works.
Oh.
One level of conformity works that way. But being an Aquarius, you were able to call bullshit on yourself. Wow, that's amazing.
And it was like, I was thinking, who is that? Well, it was written so long ago, and so the writing wasn't. I mean, I've got much better as a writer since then. I think I started writing it in 2010, so it's quite old. Anyway, so first I thought I'll have to go back through it and just rewrite it, like just update it. But as I was reading it, I just thought, no, I've got to start all over again.
It's too much. It's
just too much, and it just makes me think, all these some of the stuff in there. I don't know where I got those ideas from, and it's just because it's in the culture. You're soaking it up, and you think it's, of course, it's obvious. That's what's going on. But then I realised you have to review everything that you ever thought you knew. Everything has probably come through a film that you watched about 10 years ago, and you think that's the truth.
I know.
Because it's gone into your subconscious.
I know. I've had this discussion with people before, and one of the discussion centered around a friend of mine who saw a bunch of films during the 80s and the 90s. They were born in 73, and maybe even a little bit towards the end of the 70s. But the films that they saw were about single moms, right? Single moms. Fighting, getting through, and guess what she became? She became a single mom, and then she looked at all the films she saw, and she basically copied the programming.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I have my own version of it. When I was a kid, I was really into dystopian movies. Love that shit, right? Omega Man, anything about the end of the world, anything about somebody surviving. In sort of this post-apocalyptic world, I loved it. But then I realized that I had turned my life on some level into that on a daily basis. Like for me, the world had already ended.
Oh God!
And I was in the midst of some kind of survival with a mutant species. And when I saw that, it was like, man, I've got some rewiring to do here.
Yeah. No, because they want you to think that as well. They want you to think it's the end of the world and that we're all going to die off or whatever. I don't know. Well, then it makes you feel really helpless.
Well, that was really, really popular programming during the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the 80s. So, that was just...
And the other stuff that was really popular in like the mid-60s, early 70s was overpopulation.
Oh, yeah.
Another big theme, right? Another big theme. Soylent Green. Movie Soylent Green with Charlton Heston.
No.
Oh my God, you've got to see Soylent Green. It's a classic. Okay. So Charlton Heston, it's a murder mystery, right? But I'm just gonna. Everybody's seen it. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not going to tell you the spoiler.
Oh no, yeah.
All right. So let me just say, overpopulation plays a big role in that movie.
Oh, okay.
The future overpopulation. So what's interesting, right? How many kids do you have?
Yeah, one.
I've got one.
Yeah. And even then, and thank God I had her because I only did it out of duty to my husband, because I thought I'd make a terrible mother. I thought, well, I got him from Sicily and made him leave his family. I better, be traditional at least in one sense and give him a kid. Best thing I ever did. I never thought I'd make such a good mother. I was really surprised. And then it all came out, all the real, I was so anti-female. I was a goth. I was just really angry all the time. I was just I was like a little demon Lilith all my life.
That's right. That's why you wrote the book, I think, probably to put that chapter of your life in the past, right?
Yeah. And now I look back and go, oh my God. And also, this is another thing I found out. There's that story of that Lilith being Adam's first wife. Mm-hmm. It's not true. It's not true. It's not in the Bible. And they said they've left it out of the Bible, right? I mean, they left it out of the Bible, and it's part of the apocryphal thing. And it's not even part of books that are left out of the Bible. I tracked it down, and I found that it was in just this. It's a satirical medieval book, written in the medieval times, and it was just taking the piss out of the Old Testament, basically. And that's the story where she, she's his first wife. She leaves him because he said that he wouldn't let her go on top and all that stuff. That whole thing is from this rubbish book that isn't anything to do with religion at all. And that the feminists then jumped on, and they're saying it's this apocryphal. It sounds like it's something from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, it isn't. It's not. And because of that, I thought, oh my God, Christianity is so misogynist, and Adam only wanted a submissive little Eve that was his rib. There's two versions of that creation story in the Bible, and it's apparently the Bible spliced together with lots of different writers. So it's just one version that says she's a rib, and the other one says they're equal.
Right.
So, and because of that, they made out that the first one where they're equal must be Lilith, and then the second one where they're not equal is Eve. This is just other people manipulating it to, again, demonize Eve, really, for being just a sort of, and Lilith being the exciting one, the exciting, sassy, independent one that said no to Adam and God.
Right. She's the middle finger. She's the middle finger.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. F-U. Yeah. So this is a very interesting topic of conversation.
And that's why I had to change my Lilith book, because a lot of it was the meaning was based on that.
On that interpretation. Yeah.
That false interpretation, which isn't the Bible at all.
So is there a place for Lilith in astrology?
That's the thing now, because I was using her a lot, but I think there is, but as what she is, the real meaning of which is a succubus, and the forbidden fruit, temptation, and a dangerous demon. She's a freaking dangerous demon, and but only as a lunar apogee, because I've found out that actually there is, if you use Lilith, but when it's conjunct the moon, it's when the moon is the nearest to the Earth, so it's got more of an effect. And the moon is a little bit suspect anyway,
right?
So I think the moon has got some kind of weirdness to it.
The moon's got a lot of weirdness to it.
Yeah. So Lilith is as the black moon. There's that, the apogee. That's important. But I used to think that if she was, trying your sun, that was important. No, I'd only use it like a fixed star. So
that's how I use it too as well.
It's the moon, and also in a divinatory kind of way. So when there's things like 9/11, if it's on the ascendant, if it's symbolically there, it does look so wicked as well. It's so rank.
Yeah.
So and it is the feminist, because feminists have jumped on it. So, but feminist it is a sort of man-hating way and against traditional family, and it is the destroyer of families, because she's the temptation as well. So she's trying to break up families.
That is an honest assessment of Lilith.
Yeah, but I think
the feminists would absolutely hate it, by the way. But I'm with you on it.
But that's it. I tried to sugarcoat her when I first started at Darkstar. It was all about Lilith and making her out to be this demonized. Oh no, she's a witch, and she's a priestess, and she's got these magic powers, and she's only for good, and she's only being demonized as and And it seemed that whoever the controllers loved that, because I was getting loads of traffic, and all the Lilith thing was always going straight to the top of Google. Oh yeah, so that's why. But I've taken a lot of my posts off as well. Mm-hmm. I did that yesterday. Actually, that was my Venus Mars moment.
That's right. You started cleaning up, yeah.
Yeah, just cleaned them off, and I only kept one of them, but I need to because the others are just out of date, and I was attracting the wrong people because of that. Because people would read my Lilith stuff because that was coming up to the top of Google and thinking I was still in 2010.
Right.
But no, it's totally.
It's such a great story that on so many levels, right? Just on a personal level, like, let's just take astrology out of it. Like let's just say, you were maybe somebody followed astrology and you really identify with Lilith, right? Mm. And you've like completely revamped your belief system, right? Yeah. And number two, that's like a big professional move for you, to say that I built a lot of my reputation and I got a lot of traction with Lilith, and right now I'm disowning Lilith.
Yeah.
Right. That is huge. So if anybody's watching this video, and I know a few of you will be watching it, just pay attention to this part of the story, because it's really, really important, and it's where we really need to be just like incredibly honest with ourselves. But
what I have found in her place is because Ceres has been more and more and more for me, and Persephone. Mm-hmm. So she hasn't, the dark goddess hasn't gone all together, but she's just become the priestess rather than the whore. And then I thought, oh my God, this is Mary Magdalene.
Uh-huh.
I've got the asteroid. I mean, I don't really do asteroids anymore, but I do happen to have Mary Magdalene, the asteroid on my bloody midheaven. Oh. So it is kind of the Mary Magdalene thing as well going on. So anyway, so but yeah, so it's Ceres to me is an actual solid object, and I have seen it work with Pluto, because obviously they're connected in their myth.
Yeah, you talked about Ceres last time when we were.
Yeah, Ceres is Persephone.
I asked you, what you thought was the most underrated aspect of astrology, and that's what you brought up.
She's kind of a version, has similar attributes to maybe Chiron as well. There's the resurrection thing. Mm-hmm. She's the sort of female version of that, because if Chiron's Jesus in some ways, then Ceres also falls into the underworld and resurrects after a time of abuse and pain. So it's a bit like the wounded healer as well. So I kind of use her. I don't use Chiron anymore because I don't need to, because I've got Ceres, but I just think it's I just love that triangular thing with her, Pluto, and Eris as well. Mm-hmm. Those three are my kind of dark triad. And then there's the whole narcissism thing. I mean, that's all related as well. Yeah. So I'm gonna read. Well, I'll probably do a book about Ceres, with that will be instead of Lilith. So it'll be and I'm gonna call it. Actually, maybe I shouldn't do the title, but I just think this is quite a nice title. Is Redefining Lilith. I was going to call it
Redefining Lilith,
but maybe not Lilith, because we're redefining the feminine, right? Making it more divine rather than sex object. Because the dark god,
I like that. Redefining, I like that. Redefining.
So making it divine again, rather than it being.
I can see this like redefining like the dark feminine. And then
yes.
But then you'd have like the dark feminists come out and say, our dark feminine doesn't need to be redefining. We like our dark feminine.
Oh, you can. It's really bad. But you can be in that place, but I don't want to be there. Right. I don't want to be in the underworld anymore.
Right. Well, I think this is what happens to me as a kid. It's really basic kind of biological revelation.
Yeah, I want to live. I want my descendants to live. I want to survive.
Right.
I don't want to be flowering in mother's basement or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a basement dweller in the underworld, stuck there.
Yeah.
And so it's coming out of the underworld. It is resurrection.
Yeah. Something happens when you have a kid. All of a sudden, the lights go on.
I'm reborn.
Right. And for me, it was A lot of men talk about, well, when I had my first kid, I started working 80 hours a week, and they get all macho about that, right?
Okay.
And it's like, well, that's great, man. I'm glad you found a raison d'etre now. It's great. Keep going.
Yeah.
I was not that way, and I was a little kind of like, well, I'm not getting that thing. But what I did get though was all of a sudden my high beams went on out into the world to see what was going on. And, I'd always done that, but it was like, that's when I started my blog. I started doing all this other stuff, right? And it's like,
the canary in the coal mine thing.
That's right. It's like, okay, this is what I can do to somehow, try to make the world a better place for my kids.
Yeah.
So it just came out in a different kind of way.
Yeah. And also the ancestors as well, I think they're really shaking us up and saying, the ancestors are there as well. So
absolutely.
That's the Taurus thing. Generations, the grandmother and, the mother and then that's the other thing. The maiden, the mother and the crone.
Right.
There is too. So the cycle of life. That's another thing.
So Ceres goes through all three of those cycles.
Yeah. I see it coming up as the grandmother, as well. She's like Saturn, because Saturn and Ceres, if Saturn's the grandfather and Ceres is the grandmother, and they've both got the scythe symbol, very similar glyphs as well.
Yeah.
So they're definitely the harvesters.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you sow shall you reap, kind of thing, as well.
So Ceres has a life cycle. This is interesting. I like this.
Yeah. It's about. So it's very fated as well, karmic thing.
What about Pallas? What do you think of Pallas?
I don't know anything about the other ones. I don't really do Pallas Athena. All I know is she jumped out of the head of Jupiter, so she's more strategic.
Right.
But yeah, I don't do the other ones because Ceres is enough for me.
Right.
I don't think the others.
Find one and
But I don't. I know a lot of people like to put them in because then it equalizes the fact that there's not enough goddesses in the chart. But I think
really, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I would never think about that.
Well, no, I think Saturn's female anyway.
Saturn's weird, right? Because it's feminine, but it also is very masculine in some way.
Yeah, I know, it is odd.
Yeah.
You know why? Because when you become an old woman, you're quite masculine. They grow beards. Well, my grandma did.
And men, if you ever watch men as they get older, they get puffy and soft and.
Yeah, you become asexual when you're older. So maybe that's why Saturn is kind of in between.
Could be.
Yeah, because you don't need to be. You're not having children anymore, so you don't need to look, and you're not going out in the fields and ploughing or anything. So just, men sort of shrivel up and women grow beards. Yeah, it's just me they do. They get moustaches.
I know that it's true. Absolutely. It's true. Then they sit out in small aluminum chairs in front of their porches on the sidewalk. At least they do in Brooklyn. Speaking of Saturn, should we get into the Saturn-Pluto conjunction? It's a good segue. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I thought we'd already talked about it, or maybe we haven't. Maybe we haven't. We've sort of touched on it all the times, but
let's bring it up here.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Let's talk about the where is it?
So that's the day right there, and I've got it at 8 a.m. on sunrise time for you. Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay,
oh yeah, that's a different chart for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where's my one? I can't
You know what? Man,
I'm taking up the whole screen. How do I?
No. I've got to do something different here. Hold on.
Oh, hang on. Exit.
Hold on.
That's all right. I've done it.
I was ahead in time. 1 second.
Now you're going to look at my chart. There you go. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's the stellium of... Actually, mine looks more crazy because I've got Ceres in there, who's also in Capricorn. So it's just making it look even more. Hang on, we're looking at the solar eclipse, or are we looking at...
Yeah. We're looking at the conjunction.
Oh, in January the 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So let me make sure I have the right. I'm sorry, I'm having a Neptune moment here. Oh, this is right. No, this is definitely right. I'm sorry. The spacing of it threw me off. Let me get back in there. There it is. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury all at 22.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Sun at 21. I mean, that's
Yeah.
big news. And then trailing behind, we've got Jupiter, and then there's that South Node, right? Look at that. South Node.
Oh, yeah. I can't see it very well on those charts. And yeah, and Ceres is also in there. I can't remember what. I think she's at 20.
Mm-hmm.
20 Capricorn as well.
20 Capricorn at that day?
Yeah.
Wow. So conjunct the sun as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've had charts, and maybe you've had charts like this too. Like there are certain times when the planets are just like massively like stellated, right? Like you'll get 5 or 6 planets in one sign. And there's this friend of mine who was born in 1974, in October 74. That's a time where there's like 6 planets in Libra. And they're all within about a 5-degree order.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult charts as an astrologer for me to interpret is when somebody has just a logjam of massive conjunctions. And it requires a lot of time, almost like, getting in there doing microsurgery to try to really understand, how these things are working together, and within this kind of super constellated sort of energy that this is pulling together here.
It's weird, well, because I've got a stellium as well. So, and my friend Stephanie, she does stellium astrology, and she's got a stellium. So we just all.
I have a stellium too. I'm just talking about really, really tight orbs.
Oh yeah, right. When they're really close like that.
That's right.
Yeah. Now that's crazy, because whenever you get transits, then it's like a triple whammy of things.
I've seen it. So when Saturn was in Libra, crossing all of her Libra planets, it's like her life just went in a 180. Career-wise, health-wise. I think she could have gotten through it, but it was hitting every single one of these stations in her chart. And it was just before Saturn was getting approaching the midheaven. So by the time it got to the midheaven, she was wiped out. Yeah.
Wow.
So what do we do with this? How do we untangle this?
Well, I mean, I've done. We've got Pluto, Mercury. I've done that one. I've looked at that as an aspect, and that I think I called it sorcery. I had Madonna with her stigmata in the like a prayer video.
Right. Yeah.
My favorite for it. But it is sorcery, isn't it? I mean, the magician. So you got the magician archetype plus the sun firing that up plus Saturn.
These are old magicians.
Old magicians.
Wizards, right? Old wizards.
Doubles and druids. I mean, it's got to be. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's Jupiter on the South Node as well,
right? Which
kind of past life religious. I mean, it's this religious war that's been going on forever. And then there's the whole. I mean, this has been building up for a while anyway. The whole Pluto Saturn we've kind of looked at already, as kind of the police state, and then also banking stuff. But I mean, will it all overturn on that day? I don't think it will. But that's why I think the eclipse is important, because the eclipse.
We can go back to the eclipse.
Can we look at the eclipse?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because that will be in effect for 6 months, and then over those 6 months, I think that that eclipse will. I think what I need to do though, I might exit that full screen, because otherwise, I need to be able to.
Do you want to throw a chart up?
I just want to be. I can't see mine because I don't know how to. Oh, hang on a minute.
I have to elevate you to be like a co-host.
No. It's all right.
Okay.
I've sorted it. That's okay. Because it jumped up and it took up the whole screen and I couldn't see my charts.
Okay.
Now we have your charts and my chart.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see, the charts. Because I wanted to see the fixed stars as well. Because Mercury, that's not part of the stellium. But on December, so December we've got.
So the eclipse starts on the 25th.
Yeah.
And then it kind of ends, it kind of culminates on the 26th.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I'll tell you why it's interesting, because if you look at what happened, and I'm not saying that there's going to be a connection here, but the actual kind of progression from one day to the next, that was the theme in the Sharon Tate murders, right? They started on the 7th, on the 8th, then they culminated on the 9th. And if you go back and you look at what happened in El Paso, it started, I believe, on the morning of the 3rd, and then it culminated on the morning of the 4th in Dayton. So there's this interesting kind of dark alchemy going from, light to dark, one kind of unit of time to the next. And this eclipse falls under that rubric because it culminates at about 1 a.m. in Washington.
And it starts off being conjunct, it's conjunct Jupiter as well. So it's all kind of
right. This is like 409 and 433. So we go back to midnight, and that moon's going to be almost right on the sun or just before it, right? So
and it's Christmas Day as well, which is Jesus being born, and everyone's going to be celebrating their family time as well. And I don't know. It's a Christmas eclipse, isn't it? Really,
it is a Christmas eclipse.
And it's Santa Claus. I don't know.
It's also apparently it's Nimrod's birthday.
Who's Nimrod?
Nimrod was the guy that built the Tower of Babel.
Oh.
And his son is Cush, right? His son is Cush.
Cush.
Yeah, Semiramis.
Oh.
And so Nimrod had died, right? He was the king of Babylon, Tower of Babel. He had died, and the story was that he was going to be reborn on his birthday, which is the 25th of December. And what happened was that he had a child, right, with Semiramis. Semiramis is actually Nimrod's mother. So Nimrod's mother gives birth to Cush. Cush is born on the 25th of December. And that's supposedly the rebirth or the birth of Nimrod. There's a lot of really weird, sort of very paganic stuff around the 25th of December.
Yeah.
Very, very intense stuff, right? And even mistletoe plays a role in, like they would remember Nimrod vis-a-vis mistletoe, right? So like the whole mistletoe ritual is connected to Nimrod as well.
Oh yeah, there's something else about mistletoe. I can't remember what it is, but it's it's a solstice kind of. I think it's something to do with resurrection. I can't remember what it is, but it's definitely.
This is a dark Christmas. This is what I get. This is a very dark Christmas.
Dark Christmas. Oh yeah. I don't know. Well, because then you got the Pluto, but then also there's the dark Christmas. But then it's always, here's me being optimistic, Jupiter rising. It's always darkest before dawn, and then then you got 6 months of its effect as well.
Right, it's true.
Maybe things go so dark that people go, "Oh, you're just pushing. You've got to be joking." Like whoever's. That if the agenda pushes, whatever they do something that is just so ridiculous that people just go, "Oh, enough! This is just ridiculous now." And maybe that's the way out of the underworld. Just hope.
Well, clearly there's a trine to Uranus, right?
Oh yeah,
going on. Yeah. And to me, that represents creative potential.
Yeah.
Because Uranus allows us to look at events differently, to reinterpret them differently. You're an Aquarius.
Yeah.
You looked at your history with Lilith, right? You reinterpreted it. I mean, that's what.
Turn it upside down,
That's upside down.
Yeah, revolution.
Upside down. Yeah.
Revolver. Yeah.
So you got Uranus with the potential of reinterpreting and turning this in a different direction, right? And it's very close to the vertex at that time, at 8 Taurus. So interesting. And then Chiron goes all the way back to 1. So Chiron, I know you don't do a lot with Chiron.
Oh yeah, obviously. 1 degrees of Aries.
Yeah, so it gets right back to almost that original degree of Aries with Chiron.
Oh yeah, 0.0.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. But I do like the part of fortune on the ascendant, which means that the relating, talking, sharing, communicating could be really good.
Oh, that's Washington, yeah. So it's based there. Yeah.
But this is heavy energy, and it rolls right in to that January Saturn-Pluto conjunction as well. I think the two are very much linked. And it could be like a 1A, 1B kind of thing, right? Something happens, and then there's fallout, and then the eclipse comes, and then there's this other piece that happens, but they're linked somehow. That's how I would see the two.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you want to have a look at it compared to the one that happened in 1284? That's so similar.
Which one was that?
That's the one December in 1284, the last time this happened.
In 1984?
No, 1284.
Oh, 1284, the year 1284.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's check it out.
Did I give you the details?
I don't think you sent me that chart.
Oh, no. How can I send it
So you can send it to me via email if you want, or I can try to make you a host.
Oh, okay, hang on. I'll just send it to you. Oops.
I love going back in time.
Yeah, no, this is the one that this one I did a bit of research on it because okay, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
Because it's the last time we get anything like we've just seen. Actual signs. Oh yeah.
So that's interesting. That's the rise of the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Yes, that's what I was. Yeah, that's
Pied Piper Hamelin is really trippy.
Yeah, I know, and I was looking into that as well. And the original, there was nothing to do with rats. Apparently, that the rats bit was added later on. It was basically he definitely, while they were all at church, he just basically took these kids.
It's child abduction.
Yeah, he abducted children while they were all at church.
Yep.
And they even did a stained glass window of what happened because it really in the church because it really affected them for years afterwards. So it wasn't a fable; it was true.
That's right. They were sold off to like other kingdoms, right? That's what I've heard.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so they were sold off. The children were sold off to other kingdoms. Who knows what they did with them? But
that is just freaking.
He was Jeffrey Epstein, is what he was.
Yeah, that's what I said when I heard about it. I said, "Oh my God, it's Jeffrey Epstein again."
That's really interesting how this stuff gets played out.
Yeah.
Like when Parkland happened, the whole Parkland thing, with the shooting in Florida. Remember that? It was on Valentine's Day.
Oh God.
Of 2018. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I looked at that, I went back in time and I looked at the Children's Crusades, and the astrological overlap with some of the outer planets was kind of mind blowing, actually. So let's get into this. I got the chart up here.
Yeah, because you can see that it's similar deal. Like there's so much weighted. I mean, this one is even more. The thing is, the eclipse actually took place at 24 Sagittarius, but then you've got Mercury, Mars, North Node, the Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto, and
Saturn.
And then these are opposite Uranus as well. So Uranus is involved there as well, but by opposition. So that's the last time it happened, which is 750 years ago. And I need to get me notes because I wrote down what was going on. Oh, hang on. Yes, there we go. Yeah. So I wrote down. Yeah. So this is what was going on at that time. So the Republic of Venice coins the ducat. That's when that came out. So, and it became the standard of European currency for the next 600 years. Hamburg destroyed by fire. Yeah, the Pied Piper happened. Archbishop Swinker orders sermons to be delivered in Polish, not German, unifying the Catholic Church in Poland. So, in their language. Mm-hmm. Edward I of England takes steps to separate church from state. And then there's the Crusades are going on as well. And that's it. So that was going on then. Yeah. But the ducat was the interesting one because apparently Venice, that's when Venice became a really big power. And
that's right. The black nobility of Venice. And
and then that's what funded the Crusades as well. So the bankers, the Crusades, they're all starting to, I think it was the Eighth Crusade, the last one happened after that.
Right.
So I was thinking, well, what are the themes that happened then that could be replayed now?
Well, I think we're getting into digital currency.
Yeah.
That's I think that.
So money is created, yeah.
When I started to look at both of these entities, right, I saw them as being economic in nature, but not catastrophically economic, but a reordering of some kind of economic platform.
Yeah.
And so based on kind of where we are technologically, where we are with the money magic and all that stuff, I don't think we're ready to go into the beast system yet. I don't think they're ready to push in on that yet. But I do think that they're going to incentivize cell phones to do the transfer, which is what we're talking about. I don't know if you've noticed this or not in England, but here in the States, they have a lot of commercials that are commercials for these online banks, these services that will lend you money, services that give you cash back if you spend, X amount. You guys get those over there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Really, really big push for this stuff in the U.S. right now. And so what they want to do is they want to move people off of traditional banking models. They want to get them on their phone. They want to get them out of the, they want to get them out of the shops, out of the actual banks. And then they want to incentivize it. They want to create kind of this weird little hybrid economy. There are companies like Rakuten, which gives you like cash back rewards. So it's incentivizing you to use the technology, right? Yeah. So they're creating little, digital carrots along the way. So what they're doing is that they're developing like a network, right? Yeah. It's an internalized network where you can get money in advance. You could have your banking through your phone, and you could also have some kind of built-in incentivizing program. And I think that's what's going to take place. I think and it's not like people are, it's not like they're going to say, okay, we're going to stop printing money. But what they're going to say is, if you do this, these are all the goodies that you're going to get by doing this. Because they'd rather incentivize people that way and make them slaves to pleasure, make them slaves to leisure, versus saying, this isn't Saudi Arabia. If you use cash, we're going to cut off your hand. It may come to it at some point. But I think that's what's going to happen. And there's going to be a sea change. And I'm wondering if, as a part of that money will be devalued at some level. Like there will be some devaluation, maybe some global devaluation of currency. So across the board, currencies are worth less. And they're incentivizing this other reality, which is, currencies may be worthless, but they're worth more in your phone. You get more value through your phone. I think that's what they're starting to assemble. That's my sense. And I think these eclipses are a part of that. And the other thing too, and I'll hand the ball off back to you, is that I talked about this thing that came out with these Fortune 200 companies. 183 of them came out and basically had a round table, and they all agreed on the same thing. And they all agreed that we're going to put people before profit. Well, that's bullshit.
Oh yeah, right.
They said, well, we're going to embrace diversity. Well, what does that mean? Right? Embracing diversity means is that you're going to use a model that basically employs, on the average, less qualified people. That generally is what happens. Sorry if people are offended by that. But it's not a meritocracy. Diversity is not a meritocracy.
No.
And then they said, and we're going to be engaged in the support for our environment. Well, that's climate change. Right? That's really what, so what we have is 188 massive corporations, Fluor, Bechtel, Amazon, Bank of America, they're all on the same page. Right? This is your Pluto, Saturn, Capricorn moment. It's happening right now. Right? And that South Node says that they may say that they're doing this for us and they're sacrifice profit. No, not at all. And I see them basically moving in. It's kind of like, the Mongols. You just see the waves of the Mongols coming in from the steppes, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think this eclipse and this conjunction is happening. It is the activation of what they've already started, and that came out last week, this roundtable with these corporations. So I think they're going to be putting their plans in place, and I think it has to do with the money and devaluing currency, and then uplifting this weird kind of digital thing that's going to be going on in our phones.
Money. But then what about the rest of the world? And because someone keeps going on about there'll be a big collapse.
No, it's not a collapse.
They're not going to collapse.
Not collapse, but they'll figure out a way to devalue. Well, how will they do that? Well, the cost of goods will rise.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So the cost of goods will rise if they'll devalue that. However, if they build in these little widgets or these little incentivizers inside their programs, you get discounts on stuff, right? So by using your phone, you're getting more. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Because they devalue money by raising the price of things. The other thing that we have to watch out for, apparently, is the housing bubble. There's going to be there's also talk around that with Uranus and Taurus, but I don't think that's what this is about, though.
No, property.
The rest of the world, India is like 80% there with digital cash and cell phones. Yeah, there was an interesting case recently. A guy sued the Indian government because he refused to be chipped based on his religious beliefs. And he lost.
Refused to be chipped?
Oh, India's way down the line.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
they're chipping people.
India is so far down. They want to get rid of cash, and they're already deep into the cell phone, and they're headed to the.
It's such a spiritual country, supposedly, and that's gone completely.
Remember, it's a caste system too, right?
Yeah.
Caste system got elites running the show, and the most spiritual people are the ones who've been most impoverished in most cases.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just putting pieces together around this.
Yeah.
I brought it up with the ducat.
Well, the ducat as well. And, I was looking back to there was another, because we're not looking at stelliums anymore, but just the Saturn conjunct Pluto. The one before that was in Capricorn, was January 1518. That was when Henry VIII was around. And that's when the African slave trade began. So that was weird because that started it, and then when it happened again in Aries, some conjunction Pluto in the Victorian times, that's when they stopped it. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if this has something to do with reparations too. That could be part of it.
Yes.
Not a fan, by the way. I'm just and I've seen.
I know. Repayment, repaying the debt.
And I actually said on my show that if the corporations are so involved and they're so deeply concerned and interested in our well-being, then why don't they pay the reparations if that's the case?
Yeah. Well, I just think it should be the families that had them. Let's chase them back. Who did it?
I agree. I talked about the Monsanto family. The Monsanto family were big slave traders.
Oh.
The Monsanto family, they were a piece of work, man. They started off making their money with slaves, and then once the slave trade went away, they started making money off munitions, explosives, bullets.
God.
Oh yeah. So now they're owned by Bayer. So I guess Bayer would be on the hook.
Yeah.
So in 1519, we've got there was a transit of Venus in 1519.
Oh, where is it?
1518.
1518, yeah. That all happened at 4 degrees Capricorn, which is where it's happening this time, I think. So, and the Protestant Reformation began then as well. Right. So there's all these Reformation things again. Yeah, that's it, because that was similar to in 1284, speaking religion in your native language rather than, well, I don't know why it was in German before, but they made it so that it was Polish. But then the Reformation was not having it in Latin anymore, but having it in English so we could understand the Bible. So it's all about making it more, bringing the religion to the people so that they can understand it more, supposedly. But the Protestant Reformation, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, one thing about Protestantism, the whole thing, that they don't believe in the divinity of Mary, and they don't like the whole Mary statues in churches. And I thought, God, one thing about Catholics and the Mary statue, this is me thinking about the Lilith thing as well, was people say, oh, it's really misogynistic. But all the churches is Our Lady. All the thing that they worship the most is statues of Mary. Mary, Mary, Mary. It's Mary mad. And you only just have to look at the art. So, it doesn't seem overwhelmingly masculine to me with all these statues of Mary everywhere.
I know, right? Yeah.
I just think we don't know what the religion was like before, during the Dark Ages, because I just think it was a lot more pagan. It was a lot more connected to the seasons, and everyone worshipped the goddess Mary, just because she's, she's not called a goddess anymore. It's similar. It's the same as Isis and the baby Jesus, the mother of God. Motherhood was worshipped.
Right.
And then Protestant came in, and it was all stripped down, and it was all on the pretense of it. We're bringing it to the people. We're making it less elite and more for the people.
Well, the great sea change with Protestantism versus Catholicism is that Mary gets to marry the priest, right?
Oh.
Like Mary becomes the wife of the priest becomes the embodiment of Mary, versus in the Catholic Church where they have to objectify Mary because they can't have that relationship.
Oh, okay. I was also thinking, what was I going to say? That, yeah, she was divine as well, but then Protestants say that she wasn't, she didn't do the Immaculate Conception, so she's a human being, so she's not divine. So then I think, oh, well, that's, again, it's the divine, she was seen as a divine person. So equal to Jesus being a divine person. So that's priestess. So they did have a concept of a divine female, whereas they always go on about.
Very true.
But she, that I know it's all kind of very, so God is a man kind of thing. But no, God, Mary was divine, so therefore she's a goddess. So therefore,
No, it makes sense.
It's weird.
Okay, so
I'm just looking at it a different way.
Pursuant to that, and I did not know this, but in 1518, Henricus Grammatius, I can't speak German, I'll butcher this, Ein Neue Kunstliche Buch in Vienna, containing the earliest printed use of the plus and minus signs.
Oh
So
my
we're
God.
getting the plus and minus of Mary, right? The subtraction here and addition over there. You know?
Oh, God.
balancing the cosmic ledger sheet.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, another thing. Yeah, Henry VIII. I don't think he. Well, of course, yeah, because the Church of England broke from Rome as well. I don't think it was in that year, but it would have happened
Around that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time is A Man for All Seasons.
Oh yeah, I like that. And
What's his name? Sir Thomas More was an Aquarian.
yeah.
Of course, you're right about Utopia.
Oh yeah, Utopia one.
We got a couple of charts, few charts that people.
Oh yeah.
You have time to do a few of these?
Yeah, we can have a quick look, can't we? Okay.
Take a few swipes. People were very excited, by the way, when I said that we would be looking at some charts here. Okay, I'm going to start with chart 1. I'm not going to use anybody's name. This is M, and then the M's.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I'm not like what's happening is my computer's so hot now. It's
a conversation, man. We're smoking today.
It's gone really slow. It's like treacle, and I can't. Oh my God! Please don't do this to me. Ah.
You want to take a moment and see if you can point your fan over there or relocate it so it's cooler?
I just have to wait for it.
Okay, you're good now.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh, please. Okay, I just need to call.
Yep, the audio's good.
Okay, it's just that it's all right. Okay, so that's J, that's S.
Oh, okay, so you're.
That's A. Yeah, it just went to some syrupy. Okay, got M. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay. Yes, this is the double yacht one, isn't it?
It's a double yacht.
One of the double yacht ones. So, yeah, the yods. So the thing with yods, so we're talking about yods, is that generally if you've just got one yod, it's pointing, like you've got the sextile and it's pointing to the two quincunxes pointing to a planet. So this, like for one of these, on M, it's, oh gosh, you see, I've got Ceres. You probably wouldn't see that on yours. Let's talk about the one that isn't the double yod then. On the other side, it's Mars going to, no, Pluto and Mars going to Neptune, pointing to Ceres. Yeah, you wouldn't have that. You probably don't have it.
No, it's okay. I've got your chart up here. Let's just go ahead and.
Oh, okay.
Dive in.
Because the thing is, with yods, you want to be aiming. You always feel that you're on this kind of mission towards the planet at the apex. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of driven towards it, but usually during your life you don't really know what your mission is, and then just events in your life slowly. It's kind of like a striving, refining kind of energy.
That's right. It is not always linear, and it's not always rational or logical. It's more intuitional and feeling into it.
But the thing is, when you've got them tied into each other, like a double yod, it's really hard to focus on which mission you're on.
Oh,
so
okay.
I know people with double yods tend to be, they might spend one half of their life going towards one apex of the yod and then suddenly switch over to the other, or they get really confused. And then you have to sort of say to them, look, just aim for one of them, because you can't do two, because you're always going to be pulled in two directions. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to focus. But yeah, the yod is the focusing principle.
So in this case, with Ceres on the ascendant, being that it's the ascendant, that theoretically should be the point of focus.
Oh yeah, definitely. because that pulls it. I just didn't sort of notice that the ascendant was there because ascendant was in the way.
It's my Virgo kicking in.
All right, so now you see now. I don't know. Do you know this person very well, or you don't?
No.
Because then that's the themes of Persephone again, isn't it? With that on the ascendant and in Taurus as well. So it's either motherhood issues, mother issues with her own mother, or being a mother, and then it's in Taurus as well. So the ruling planet would be Venus and. See, that's that other stellium. There's another stellium in Scorpio as well. Another chart like that. But look, it's all relationships. Because it's that stellium in Scorpio is in relationships.
Yep.
In the 7th house.
Yep.
So it looks to me pulled towards being either a conservationist or in tune with nature or working with nature. But then there's this pull towards relationships. Maybe the relationships become quite demanding of her, and there's always this kind of struggle of where to focus.
Well, with all that Scorpio in her 7th house, I mean, it could be a very, it could be very deep, intense place, right? I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
Sun, Jupiter, Venus. I mean, it could be a dungeon, No, but I think there's power there. There's a lot of intensity and deep entanglement there. And do you think that would get in the way of, at times, the actualization or we're working out a series on the ascendant?
Yeah, because I was thinking of the Svengali issues, like falling for Svengali figures, and because that's a kind of Persephone theme as well, falling for very Plutonic men. And then she's got Mars with Pluto anyway. So, signs, but they're together. And, so, and then then the Virgo moon, there's the practical side. Yeah, but then she can end up being a nurse as well and wanting to heal these men. Or I don't know if it's a woman or not. It might be a man. Then it'd be like...
This is a woman.
Yeah,
so, okay. Okay, and then we throw in that 29th degree of the true node in Aquarius, which takes this thing into a whole different level of discussion, right? And trying to objectify and get on top of things, try to see it from a larger perspective, or more top down in some ways. It almost feels like there's this interesting dance between the deep entanglement of the 7th house and the Svengali figure, and then trying to break out and hit that true node in Aquarius and try to
get out into the world.
Yeah, the bird's eye view of everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like an escape route in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, because the focus of all that Scorpio, that's very focused and deep, and then the odds are trying to. There's a bit of a balance with the battle with the odds as well. But once there's focus there, it's maybe too focused, maybe it's hyper focus, and then she can hyper focus on a person maybe too much. I mean, it's quite obsessive. And then there's Mercury descendant as well. What stars are on?
And that's Saturn over in the 1st house too, right?
Oh yeah. Opposite Venus. Yeah, Saturn Venus oppositions. And Saturn Venus tend to be, well, I've known that they seem to find it hard to believe that someone loves them as well. There are problems with believing that people love them, and being quite, can get quite negative about love as well. And they're both retrograde. Well, Venus retrograde, I have that. Thinking that you're ugly and nobody's interested as well when you're younger. But that's insecure. That's quite insecure with Saturn opposite as well. So there's self-esteem issues, but maybe too focused on relationships to get the self-esteem, and then falling for kind of the bad boys as well. I don't know. Yeah.
There's a yearning for a deep merging, that Venus-Neptune conjunction.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
Oh, yes.
It's like, let the world just drops away, and let's dive in here. But and it's interesting because there's also the reality check with Saturn on the other side. It's like this is all wonderful, well and good, but you know,
it can get pulled into the natural relationships. I think that's as well. Like, and that's the thing with the online things. You know, with the forbidden fruit coming through the telephone, that could happen there too.
The one thing. I mean, I know she has. It looks like Uranus. It's Uranus in Libra, Mars in Libra. I guess that's a fair amount of air in the chart. I was going to say that.
Oh yes.
That there's not a ton of air here. There is not a lot of fire, though. Am I right? There's not a lot of fire in this chart.
No.
So with a heavy emphasis of Scorpio, there's going to be, and I'm not saying this in a pejorative sense, but that's where the energy is in the chart.
Yeah.
So it's going to be involved with the other. So the personal fire, the passion, the intensity, whatever she can derive from the interpersonal relationships or contacts, I think that's where the heat comes from in her chart.
Yeah.
A lot of fixed energy. Doesn't give up easily. That's what I would say.
Also, though, with the Mars Uranus, I mean, that could be a fear of commitment in relationships anyway, which is really contrary to what that stellium is saying.
Exactly.
So maybe she does go for unattainable people because otherwise she'd fall way too deep and wouldn't find herself. Sort of thing.
What about Mars in the 6th? Because now we're talking about work as well, right? Work, purpose. So there could be kind of an interesting sort of, I don't know, love-hate relationship with that, I think. Like sometimes love the work with Mars and Libra there, sometimes not, depending upon what kind of respect or what kind of, fairness or equality or balance can be expressed.
Mars in Libra, though, it's also not very powerful either. So
it's other dependent. That's the thing with Libra. It's always other dependent in some ways.
Yeah. So and it's also that's 6th house I always see as being kind of service to others as well.
Yeah.
So being in there. And the moon in Virgo. It is a kind of healer energy.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Yeah.
Healing addicts, people with obsessions and addictions.
Healing sex addicts. Is that
that might be it too.
She's got that Capricorn midheaven, so Saturn's up there now, Pluto's up there now.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we can maybe she could expect some change, right? So somebody came by my website on my YouTube channel the other day. They said when Saturn and Pluto conjunct the midheaven and the south node is there, that the person is wiped out from public life. Like they cease to exist publicly. You agree with that?
Yeah, I guess so. With the south node as well, or
because there'll be a retreat right down into the 4th house if that's the case. I'm not sure I fully agree with it, but I do agree to the extent that I think whatever the person's doing, and I've seen this with a person who's going through this right now, they are clearly not recognized. Like there's like stuff going on where, at this job that this person I know has this going on. Yeah. Her boss got laid off, right? There's your Saturn on the ascendant south node. The place is rudderless. She's kind of running around trying to figure out what to do while this new company, figures out what to do with the company. So it's not like she's been eliminated, but the things that she's been attached to that gave her some traction and purpose, those are all gone now.
Oh, wow.
So she's kind of like, free floating in this very unusual environment without much leadership and without a lot of direction in the company.
Oh, it's hard for me to sort of, I have to visualize it. Do you know what I mean? We say things and I go, that's it. But,
no, I've been practicing this for a while. Just in my head. Let's get to another one real quick here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Em, for sharing your anonymous life with us. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is chart number 2, which is J.
Oh, J. That's another double yods. I think I'll get off the yods thing actually, because it's got Ceres in the yods. I don't know whether that's so significant really. But
this time it's on the other side. Everything's switched here.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like these two people, and it's stellium in Scorpio again.
That's right.
But they so odd. I'm going to just go and find it again.
These are different charts.
Yeah, they're both 19. Oh no, are they both the same year? Yeah, J and M. They're both 1970. Oh, but they're only a week apart.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Well, one's California and one is
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
How funny! And I just chose them randomly.
Yeah. So this is the soulmate of the other one. Left to me. Oh God, can you imagine? They just have everything in.
They could complete each other in some interesting way.
Well, no, because it'd all be in Scorpio, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I thought you. No, it'd be too much. It'd be too much.
Yeah, it would be. Wow. It would be crazy.
The universe would end.
Yeah. So with this one, it's all focused on the self. Then the same obsessive energy, but on them, and but maybe the partner's Saturn on the descendant, and I don't know. I'm lost here.
A very different position for the moon, right? The last time the moon was in Virgo, here it's in.
Oh yeah.
It's just after being a new moon, so it's kind of in that 72-hour phase where it's probably crescent moon, and it's in
I've just remembered this was it's when you first sent me the charts. I just thought, wow, this is an interesting one because Scorpio. I looked up the decan for it, and I call this one spiritual accountant and poker faces. So they'd be really, and with Jupiter rising as well, I don't know, they're good at hiding. There's a lot behind them, but you wouldn't know it. You just wouldn't know it. There's all this brewing, there's all this volcanic, it's like a volcano. Mm-hmm. And they do a lot of things behind the scenes, and they may be a spiritual warrior, but they're not, but no one would know it. They are like the spy, the undercover. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like this chart when I first saw it. I thought, wow, and it's got the same these funny odd things. But yeah, there's a sort of there's a Persephone Pluto theme going on a little bit.
What do you think of like Venus Neptune in the first house? To me, that's almost like, I mean, take it out of Scorpio, right? But Venus Neptune in the first house is almost like a selflessness in some ways, right? There's like the sacrifice of relationship and sort of this merging with others with Venus and Neptune and deep empathy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there's a deep empathy, but then there's so much. But then there's the other planets in there as well. It's kind of hard. Oh, actually, no, it's not so. I don't know, because it's so. I don't know if I'm seeing that all as one big thing together. And
right. So you're seeing it as like a giant.
Like a super cluster. So I don't know if you can take it out of the rest of it. That's kind of spiritual warrior though, mm-hmm. because it's in Scorpio, which is Mars rules, and then you've got Jupiter rising. That Jupiter rising has to trump that.
But I think with that Venus Neptune, that she'd have to go through some dark material related people to get to the empathy. That's my sense. And then Jupiter on top of that kind of could raise her up out of that, out of a crisis. Right? Where things are too dark, Jupiter could, provide some expansion, some hope, some philosophical kind of buoyancy.
And sense of humor, I think. Yeah. Because that probably maybe it's a sort of dark sense of humor, but you just, what do they call it? Hospital humour or doctor's humour, you know, when they're in
Gallows humor.
Gallows humour, that's it, yeah. Because if you're surrounded by, you know, death and really difficult things or sorrow every day.
Morbid. I think it's called morbid humor.
Yeah. No, I think it was gallows humour. Yeah, that's the expression. So maybe there's some gallows humour there as well, and it's opposite Saturn as well.
So I do know this person, and she's a nurse.
Oh yeah. That's what you said.
Yeah. And a dancer too. Very intense.
Oh, that's
dancing.
Mars Uranus
Mm-hmm.
together. Because that's agility, I guess. Fast.
Well, that's a crisp yod, huh? Look at that.
Yeah. That's more kind of, I'd say, a proper yod, I think, with a node as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a Persephone yod, and it's transforming through that Pluto Virgo. So it's part of that generational thing. So she's 1970. So that's the end of the what are they called? The Gen X. So
70 actually begins Gen X right around there. Pluto, that's what I think. Pluto and Libra, right? 1970. So I've done a little bit of research, right, with this little subgeneration that is not Gen X and not the baby boomers, and they're born right around 57 to about 69.
That's me. I thought it was a Gen X. Yeah, 66.
So you would be actually right in the sweet spot of what they call Generation Jones.
Oh, Jones.
We've got our own generation, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so Generation X starts after?
I think Gen X comes in with Pluto and Libra. That's what I think.
Oh, I thought they were the millennials.
No, millennials come in around 1984, 85. And Pluto goes to Scorpio.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Maybe a little bit earlier. Like maybe Gen X swings in at around 71, 72.
Okay, because I did a bit
She's right. She's not quite Gen X, but I bet you if you asked her, she'd probably relate more to Gen X.
Yeah.
Our generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Generation Jones, by the way, is a subgeneration that is highly prized by people that want to get people to vote.
Oh.
Because it's a generation that actually can move elections when they're engaged. So it's
what's the Jones bit? Why are they called Jones?
The Jones bit has to do with like Pluto and Leo first at the table, right? And Pluto and Virgo has to keep up with the Joneses.
Oh yeah, I thought it was that. All right. Okay.
So we're Generation Jones. And there was a book that was written on it, and like the New York Times and The Economist, all these magazines covered it. So we're there are niches within niches with these generations. Like even if you look at like the Pluto and Sag kids, if you look at the Pluto and Sag kids from 96 to around 2000, 2001, they've got Uranus in Aquarius. In Aquarius. And the early ones are into those really tight conjunctions and sextile to Pluto. They're very different than the ones who come later who have Aquarius, Neptune in Pisces, and Uranus. There's Neptune in Aquarius and Uranus in Pisces. So they're different. They're like these little notches and subgenerations within the generations, which make it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do. Can you squeeze in two more? You got time for two more? Okay, good. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you'll notice it's gone dark.
now you're in the magical phase, the twilight, right?
Twilight.
Here we go. So this is A, and this is going to be chart 3.
Oh yeah, this one I thought, oh my god, what a complex chart. Look at all those T-squares.
Yeah.
This actually had one that reminded me a bit of, I don't know why, Julian Assange. I don't know why. I think it was, oh no, maybe it's wrong. Maybe it was something else. But T-squares. So it's Sun
Sun 23 Sag.
to Uranus. Is it Uranus? What's the
And so
T-square?
Uranus-Pluto conjunction.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
1965, right in the heart of that Uranus-Pluto conjunction. And then during that time, Saturn and I don't think you have Chiron on here, do you?
No, not mine.
Because Saturn and Chiron were also conjunct during that time in Pisces.
Yes, yeah, because I have that.
Unusual time.
Yeah. So Venus rising.
Yeah.
In Aquarius. So I'm probably my brain's running out of steam actually. I'm getting tired and I can't think. With this one, Venus rising. So really planet is setting with that maybe. And I just think with T-squares, they do get better as you get older. I mean, they do turn into diamonds, but it is a struggle.
Yeah.
But it's more rewarding. I think people with T-squares, that's almost like the Grand Cross with Sarah's there as well. But I just don't know where to start with this one. I think the Venus rising, they're going to be charming and very idealistic, and because it's Aquarius and it's the first. Oh, these are the space cadets. A little bit of the space cadet, but that's my son as well. 2 degrees of Aquarius, but with the Venus as well. So a charming sort of quite spaced outy person. I just think of this kind of like dreamy, skipping around space cadet. But then there's the moon in Virgo, so there's a practical side that likes to research and goes deep in the 8th house. That's
right.
It may give an impression of being sort of the kind of a bit hippy-dippy, but really there's the serious researcher behind it all with that T-square with the sun. The sun, Leza, the stinger of the Scorpion star. And Razal Haig is in Ophiuchus, so and it's in the 3rd eye of Ophiuchus. So those stars are really people that like to research. They're sort of truth seekers and healers, and you really want to, look into the dark side.
Yeah.
So on the surface,
and I know this person, and you're nailing her. You're doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So on the outside, I think people open up to her thinking she's a bit sort of scatty, but she's keeping track of it all. And she wanted to bring out the stinger, she could. But it's all.
Oh, I've seen her bring out the stinger.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's why I've seen it in action.
But she disarms people with the charm and the sort of fairiness, being a fairy. I mean, I know that, and I think that's 2 degrees of Aquarius is a bit like that.
What do you think of the second Saturn return, and then the Saturn conjunction with Ceres for her? What do you make of that?
Oh, the Saturn return, the second one.
Yeah, because that'll be in her life in what about 6 years, 7 years from now.
It's in the 2nd house of money. I mean, it could be some kind of inheritance, or getting some sort of reward, financial reward, or karmic payback for what she's done, because there's all that research in the 8th and bringing out the truth and going into.
I think the Saturn return pulls it together. That's what I'm sensing.
Yeah. And turning that T-square into the diamond, like she's paid her karmic debt.
Yeah.
That with the struggle in her life so far. Oh, there's Neptune on the midheaven as well. So
it's a very interesting placement for Neptune.
Bit of a guru.
Yeah.
Be a bit of a guru there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mercury on the south node.
And is that a trine from Neptune to Ceres? Is that what that is?
The
purple line?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen like Ceres and Neptune together. That can be that's quite psychedelic because that's herbs, and then of course Jupiter, Neptune is really spiritual. And
yeah, I tell you, the Neptune transit of my first house in the 70s in Sagittarius, it just threw me off my course, man. I was yeah.
Psychedelics. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so it was almost like to the day when Neptune got into my first house, I got drunk for the first time.
Oh.
I was 12 years old.
Oh my God, 12.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember that moment.
Yeah.
I think I was 14, 15. Just remember trying to walk down the stairs when my dad picked me up from the party, trying to be sensible.
Oh, God. You were so busted, right?
It was like just one glass of wine, but on an empty stomach.
Right. Yeah. I was a little bit above that. No, let's say a lot above that. Well, this has been great. Thank you for doing this, and
oh, thank you. Yeah.
Some of your skills. On these
I wasn't sure whether my brain would be working today because honestly, when it's so hot like this, I just can't think. So I think
you're a total.
I was a bit stuck.
No, you're
it's like I usually. What happens when I read a chart? I really get into it. And it takes me a while for it to unfold. Mm-hmm. So to do the last ones and switch between charts got me a little bit confused. But I think the last one I kind of pulled it a bit together.
Yeah, I think I helped out a little there.
Yeah. Go on.
So it looks like you're about ready to go right into that portal right behind you right now.
Yeah, turn into the black hole.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been really great. Thank you.
Okay, it's been great.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll replay this tonight. Yeah. Right now it's just me and you. And tonight,
all right.
Everybody else sees it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, I didn't realise. I thought it was live.
Oh no.
Oh.
No.
Oh, that's good. If I'd known that, I would have been a bit more relaxed. I thought it was live.
Oh, you did great. Are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Maybe the adrenaline.
Yes, I think by you thinking it was live, you brought your game up another level.
Oh my God!
Too relaxed. I don't know. I might have had to make up a little bit more on my end. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that was all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you get to see it later. So it's gonna air in a few hours. You can watch it.
Right. I told everyone it was going to be live at this time. Oh, I know. Never mind.
Well, it'll be live. Sort of later. I'll be live.
You've disappeared. What's happened to my screen? I've just got me.
I can see you.
No, hide thumbnail. I don't know what's happening here.
I'm getting a weird 1970s effect in your glasses.
Yeah, I know. It's because all it's doing is reflecting the screen now. Yeah. So
it's because it's dark. It's because it's dark.
All right.
Well, so where can people find you? In your coordinates.
Oh, Darkstar, astrology.com. And then I've got the channel, haven't I, on YouTube. So probably just put the link on the description. It's just, Darkstar Astrology on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on all of them. So, yeah.
So I will, I'll send this to you. And then if you want, you put it up on your YouTube channel as well.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I will.
Fair use. So thank you very much. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll hook up again in a few months, and maybe closer we get to that eclipse, maybe we'll jump back in again. Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be cooler. My views won't be melting. So, yeah.
Okay. Bye for now.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
All right, that was the amazing Marina Darkstar, all the way from Joliet, England. She's great, totally great, and she was such a trooper there at the end because I could tell she was fading a bit. She agreed to get in and do some of those charts, so that was really, really cool of her. And again, I just want to point out how amazing and powerful it was for her. I think it was for her to look at a book she wrote and basically say, I don't believe in this anymore. And then have to go back in and kind of think about what she's going to do and how she's going to reclaim that material, because a lot of people generally just double down and say, well, I did really well. I got all, because she was the Lilith queen, man. And the thing I liked about her Lilith stuff was more about how she presented it. Marina's really good with graphics and look and feel and mood. She's really, really good at that stuff. And so I was looking at a lot of her Lilith material from, like, how do I say it? More of a graphical, imagistic perspective. But I respect the heck out of her for, making that call and pulling the plug on a book that she wrote. And not only that, but a belief system as well. And we need more of that. We need more people willing to re-examine their belief systems. And it's a very healthy thing to do. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for being a part of our little chat tonight, our show. 2 hours worth. It was like a lot of astrology tonight. You got a lot tonight. You got a lot of bang for your buck. And we'll be back on Tuesday. I'll be back here on Tuesday doing some 15 minutes of flame. And we've got the Friday Farcast coming up, and we'll tee it up again next Sunday night as well. Doing this and doing tripping on the astrology and tripping on the stars. So thank you once again. Let me say goodnight to the chat room. You guys are the best. Kind of an interesting time in here tonight with the chat room. Some interesting influences, no doubt. So thank you again. So use your head to discern what's real, your heart to say what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. And have yourself a great Sunday night and a terrific week. Take care.